Welcome to Popternative, where we dive into topical discussions from the worlds of pop culture, social media, and sports. Here is your host, Peter Remoliotis, aka PD Beats.
PD Beats here from Popternative, speaking to Kristin Booth about The Boys. Season 3 recently premiered on Amazon Prime and week to week. New episodes will be streaming. Welcome back to the show. It's so good to see you.
Oh, you too, Peter. Thanks for having me back.
Yeah, absolutely. We talked about Marlene, and we said after the interview, we got to connect once The Boys is out. Has it hit you that the episodes are like finally coming out though? It's crazy. Like you go, you work on it, and the world's like finally able to see it.
I mean, I'm so excited and also very terrified for the world to see Herogasm, which drops like in some places in the world tonight.
Yep.
I think one of the hashtags that Amazon was using to promote it was "You're Not Ready," and it is the perfect hashtag because
I wasn't ready for the first sequence of season 3. So, yeah. So if they're doing, I mean, actually, before we get into that, I find it interesting because you said about how a couple, like in some parts of the world it airs tonight. Is that the most craziest, most mind-blowing thing about being a storyteller, like the global access to all the stuff that you shoot? Like that's pretty amazing to think about, right?
Yeah. I mean, certainly there are projects that I've done, like for example, Marlene, which we talked about a couple months ago when it came out in Canada. I mean, that is not a global release, right? No. That's not something that is a small Canadian indie film, and I'm sure it will
one day, absolutely.
I'm sure it will have its time in the U.S. and the world and all that kind of stuff, but not something on the scale of The Boys. I mean, The Boys is honestly probably the most talked about television show, the most sort of anticipated season 3. I mean, people were talking about season 3 a year before it was even finished, it's mind blowing to know that the entire world is waiting for this and has been waiting for this. And that it has that kind of reach, and that the stories I mean, You're Not Ready totally applies, but aside from the shock value and the insanity of The Boys, it is such a well-written show and satire of our, capitalist society and our politics and all of that kind of stuff. It's so smart and so well done and so well acted that I'm just thrilled that people get to see all the hard work that each and every person involved in that show put into the season. I mean, it's incredible.
I mean, episode 6, I mean, I'll be honest with you. Like it's
Please.
called no. It's called Hero. Like that's the name of the episode, right? It's called Herogasm, but it's like people based on like the title and like they see like because you know how things drop, right? Like they announce the show's coming out, then the episode titles come out eventually, so people see that and are kind of like, oh my goodness, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, but it's like, were you like, I need to know, like, for you specifically, because you obviously can't speak on behalf of anyone else, but I'm sure, like, maybe feelings are mutual. I mean, when did you find out about that whole kind of episode specifically? Did you know you were, like, gonna be, like, when you, like, auditioned and you were cast, did you know about that storyline? Like,
no.
Okay.
So when I auditioned and got the role of Tessa, I knew that my predominant, like my big scenes and my big moment was going to be episode 6, which was Herogasm. I did not know, had not read the script for Herogasm. I got that much later. And I was not, I didn't read the graphic novels prior to, so I did not know what to expect. Yeah. So when I got the script, that was the first time where I really just kind of sat back and went, oh, wow.
Yeah.
And there is kind of sort of a thing you got to do to prep yourself when you know you're going into that to shoot. I mean, partly it was so helpful because my wardrobe and the sets, everything is just so top notch and so incredibly done that you kind of forget who you are and the outside world, and you literally immerse yourself into what's happening.
Of course.
So in some ways that helps tremendously. But I mean, I don't know that there's much you can do to prepare yourself for a superhero orgy. And
Am I gonna be able? Like, is like we're gonna post this on YouTube? Like, is this gonna be like
I'm not. That's as far as I'm going. As far as I'm going.
Well, no, it's like
no spoilers here.
But
we have to entice people a little bit.
The episode's called Herogasm. We don't need to. That's what I started with. That like what you knew. Like we know. Like the title of the episode is Herogasm. Everyone's like posting on all the big media outlets, right? Like what to expect from episode 6, Herogasm. Like, I don't think we need to entice anymore, is what I'm saying. When were you officially cast, Kristin, for The Boys?
It was in late January, early February of 2021. Because the super suits, which you will not see us in episode 6, but you saw us in episode 3 in the flashback to Nicaragua. Those things are phenomenal, and they're made from scratch by the incredible team under Michael Ground. So Michael Ground is our wardrobe designer, costume designer in Toronto, and then LJ does the super suits out of LA. So Michael did ours, and the majority of them are done by LJ in LA. But Michael crafted ours from scratch. So I had 4 months of wardrobe fittings prior to our first day of shooting. So those, it was very involved, and apparently the super suits are upwards of like $50,000 to make, and there were like 2 or 3 of them for both Tommy and Tessa. So
yeah,
it's an investment.
Well, in the pandemic though, being cast and actually going and shooting the thing have been 2 different things these days, right?
Totally. Yeah. Totally.
There's some people that I've interviewed recently on my show that they were like officially cast for the project that like recently came out, like 2017, 2018. Like,
yeah,
it's like that's 5 years ago.
Yeah, no, I mean, there certainly were people who were waiting years to start something that they had.
Well, think about all the things
was going to start right away.
Because a lot of the things that we're going to shoot in 2020 did not shoot in 2020, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes they cast, no, absolutely. No, but The Boys, one of the most groundbreaking, craziest shows on television. Hero culture, superhero culture is so big, they kind of find a way to make it different and stand out. With that being said, what's it like being part of The Boys, knowing that it is kind of broken ground for the superhero genre a little bit?
It's a total honor and thrill, honestly. I mean, I was a fan of the show before I got the part of Tessa. And so when the audition came across my, table, I was like, oh my God. I was sort of freaking out. And then when I got the news that I was cast, it was one of those career moments where you're like, pinch me, like, and then being on set with everyone. And the most incredible part of the entire experience truly is the crew and Eric Kripke, who is the showrunner. It all trickles down from him, and he is such an amazing, nice, classy guy, so talented and yet so humble, and really appreciative of each and every person who's involved in the show. And I feel like the moment you stepped on set, his influence and he set that precedent, and it was like everyone. So it was like on so many levels.
It starts at the top though, right?
Yeah.
Like it really does. Like that's always been the thing, right?
Yeah.
Which is amazing. No, absolutely. Eric Kripke we can call they're geniuses.
I would say that.
Yeah.
No, I would say that for sure. He is certainly, Yeah. And his team and everyone
Yep.
he puts on his team is, you know, I firmly believe they're all just like the at the top of their game and so good at what they do.
Absolutely. Okay,
And
look,
every detail is thought of, right? Like not
absolutely.
one tiny little thing.
Well,
Like
it is a very detailed show. Like, do you remember, okay, season 2, first episode? The whole thing where they're going and getting all the terrorists, like the first sequence with Black Noir, like that, how detailed was that? Like that was insane, right? All the different like the soups and like all the different, like it was like one scene has like 30 things you can catch, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is amazing. Okay, I want to do a little bit of a blast from the past. You're in one of my favorite movies of all time. It is because School of Rock is my favorite movie of all time, right?
Okay.
So that makes a little
Great
bit of sense.
movie.
That makes a little sense, right? That I also enjoy Detroit Rock City.
Yes.
And you're the cashier.
Yeah.
And that whole sequence was, I find it cool because that was like the convenience store situation. Because the whole thing is they want to get tickets to see Kiss. And one of the guys tries to like steal it from a kid or like rob a bank, all that stuff. And they go like back and forth to that convenience store, right? Which I find was really cool as well. What was that whole experience like shooting that? Like it was a long time ago, but like
it was a long time ago. My God. 1998, I think I shot that. But again, you know, I have to say I've had so many fantastic experiences in my career, working with different people and on different projects, and Detroit Rock City, again, like such an iconic project because there is such just an immense fan base surrounding Kiss, first of all, and that whole time in music, in that genre of music, it's kind of a thing of the past, so it's very iconic. And I feel so blessed to have been a part of it, but the actual shooting of it too was just phenomenal. Like Adam Rifkin, who directed it, was a doll. I had so much fun with him. My stuff was all night shoots, so we were in this convenience store at night, the guys were fun, and so it was just a blast.
So you have scenes.
It was so much fun.
You have scenes with I forget his name, like one of the guys, like the actors. So one of the actors, like with the long hair, right? He was in Cabin Fever. Him, and then you also had scenes with a guy who actually robbed the store, right? But like, were you around everyone else? Because there was like there was Chongo, right, and like the kid with the Kiss makeup. Like, were you all like? Basically hanging out and like on set together, basically. Okay.
Yeah, it was. I think we shot that over 3 nights. So for 3 nights, we were all hanging out together in the tent outside.
Were you listening to Kiss? Was that a thing?
Oh yeah, of course.
Like to get in the mood and stuff. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, for sure. And I was so angry because the big scene at the end, the concert. I was invited to go to that, but I couldn't because I was working on another project and I was shooting, and I was so pissed because I was like, "Oh man, that would have been such a great experience to be at that concert."
I've seen them live. What you see in the movie is what it is. Yeah. That's the best part about it. Like the movie is literally, the movie is like the perfect promo to ever go into see
Truly
Kiss.
Is, right? Yeah.
It is, because they toured for years after that. And because like I love that whole sequence, and he catches the drumstick. Oh man, it's so good. Love that movie.
Yeah. It's so well done.
You shot that in 1998, and we're talking about this now because things don't have a shelf life and digital streaming. It's pretty crazy, right?
Yeah.
Like
you
have no words for it, pretty much, right? Like
and that's what's so fabulous. You talked about, the reach of storytelling. It's what's so fabulous about storytelling today is that something I shot that long ago can still have an audience, a new audience, right? And I think that's just incredible.
It is incredible.
Stories live on.
Absolutely. The Boys is incredible. They're checking that out on Prime Video. Kristin, so great to catch up with you. Thank you so much for coming back on the show.
Oh, thanks for having me, Peter.
Yeah, so look out for episode 6. We're just gonna call it episode 6 at this point of season 3 of The Boys on Prime Video. Instagram, you're pretty active there, right? They could follow you on Instagram.
Yep, Kristin T. Booth. Kristin, Kristin.
Amazing. This has been Popternative, youtube.com/Popternative for previous episodes. Till next time, this is Kristin Booth and Petey Beats signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube. Be sure to like Popternative on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.